So today we kind of did a continuation of what we did 2 weeks ago. We were doing an inside step sacada. So the inside step was after you do this position from like a traditional setup to a back ocho. Instead of stepping outside, you step inside. Now we're just kind of stepping in a little bit more inside to create a bump for the follower so that we can cause a flare, which is the sacada itself. Then what we did was we just weaved in a change of direction to a molinete with a little style. So here's the whole figure in action. We step, bump, here, into this nice little rotation. So if we break down the two steps separate of each other, this is the molinete itself. The molinete is just going to be from a back ocho setup. So we have a back ocho, we have a back ocho. Now from here, my weight is on my right foot, and I'm just going to slide my foot outside of her foot. Slide my foot outside, and then I will start sending around. Followers, all that you're doing here is a molinete forward side back. The key here for the followers is to feel and make sure that you're aware of that rotation. So you're not going to be doing a back ocho. Stay with the chest, continue following the leader's center as you're going around. So that means for the leaders, you have to continue leading from the torso, from the frame, so that she has something to follow. If you just send her around, then she's going to eventually stop because there's nothing left to follow. So she'll kind of like have a lull in her movement. So I'll show you what that looks like. Well, not the lull, but the continuing to follow. Watch my chest. As she's going around, I continue rotating my chest the whole time. See that? The chest keeps rotating, just keeps rotating. That gives the follower something to go with. Now, after I do a couple steps of that, what's going to happen is my hip doesn't move. My foot's slightly turned out, my chest is rotating, but my hip doesn't move. I'm still facing this way with the hip, right? So the idea is that eventually I will reach a breaking point. So the point, basically the point where I can no longer twist or comfortably twist. So what happens then? I continue rotating with the chest, but I release the hip. And by releasing the hip, all that the hip is doing is trying to catch up to my shoulders, to my chest, so that I'm in this block position again. This is kind of a homeostatic position, which is, this is comfortable. If I stand like this for too long, my body's going to say, why are you doing that? Why do you not just stand like this? This is obviously more comfortable. So that's exactly how this works with tango as well. This is an uncomfortable position. It's a nice stretch, but after a while, I'm done stretching. So I release, and now I get back to this position. I can stand like this indefinitely. Okay? So that's the additional component, was just this rotation. Now, to bring them both together, what I need to do is I need to make sure that I am following the path of the follower. This should be a flowy step. And when we hear flowy, what do we think of? Valse. Valse is a very flowy dance. This means this is a wonderful step for valse as well as tango. So in this case, when I step in, I'm going to bump, but now I'm going to step 1, 2 forward, and then begin to go into a back ocho. Back ocho, bump, forward, back ocho, back ocho. This is a good exercise to go from this bump, this little sacada from the inside into ochos. So I stay on that path. And then once you get comfortable of going in and out of the inside step, kind of like weaving, you can put them both together. And that's how we get this final application, which is this bump here, outside, unwind, square. And then we can exit. It's a lot to say for like 7 steps worth of a step, but I think it's cool. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.